What is it really that makes a zombie story grab you? Is it just the chase, the gore, or is it maybe something deeper about us?
Hmm.
Today we're diving into exactly that. We're exploring the profound and sometimes pretty disturbing things these stories reveal about ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and our source. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. The Living Dead 2, a really standout anthology of zombie fiction, edited by John Joseph Adams.
And this volume, it offers something quite unique, actually. The first one, The Living Dead, Volume 1, that was mostly reprints, existing stuff.
Right.
But this one, it's overwhelmingly original. I think it's 25 out of the 44 stories are brand new, written just for this collection.
And you can really feel that eagerness from the writers, can't you? The editor mentions how authors, I mean, big names like Robert Kirkman, the Walking Dead guy,
Mm-hmm.
and Max Brooks from World War Z, plus loads of others, bestsellers, rising stars from sci-fi, fantasy, horror.
Mm-hmm.
They were basically lining up to contribute.
Yeah, it suggests there's this huge wellspring of ideas about zombies that goes, well, way beyond the usual stuff we see.
So our mission today is to kind of unpack why zombies have such a hold on us. The editor puts it really well, I think. He says they offer a morality-free way to fulfill a world destruction fantasy.
Right, so you can explore total collapse, human darkness without, the baggage of real wars or politics.
Exactly. And unlike some other monsters, zombies cannot be easily romanticized.
Definitely not. No sparkly zombies here.
So we're going to get into all these different takes on life, death, survival.
Yeah.
What happens when the world is just completely overrun?
Okay, let's do it.
So when survival is everything, what happens to, human relationships, things we normally take for granted? How do they change under that kind of pressure? Let's dive into those raw, intimate bits, starting with Robert Kirkman's story, Alone, Together.
Yeah, and it's striking, isn't it? Because Kirkman's so famous for the Walking Dead comics, but this story, it's actually his first ever published prose fiction.
Wow, really? Huh. And what's truly chilling in it isn't just, the killing. It's how the apocalypse doesn't just trash society's rules, it seems to trash our inner moral compass too.
Mm-hmm.
We see the protagonist, he's lost his wife, Diane, and he just spirals
Mm-hmm.
from self-preservation into this, monstrous obsession with Alicia. He's the awkward third wheel with her and her fiancé, James.
Agonizing.
Yeah, and then his thoughts.
Yeah.
They reveal he actually murdered James. And he asks himself, this goes, what's one more if it means I'll be happier? What's one more if she never has to know what I've done? It's brutal.
Yeah.
It forces you to look at the darkness behind those desperate acts of love or survival.
And that detail, it really shows how extreme situations push people, not just to survive physically, but for emotional needs too, right? Blurring all the lines.
Exactly.
The protagonist even convinces himself Alicia's forgiven him after he confesses, and his last thought while she's sobbing. This incredibly ambiguous, almost delusional, everything is going to be okay.
It's like self-deception becomes its own survival tool.
Yeah.
Twisted.
Yeah, absolutely twisted.
And that raw emotional struggle, it even shows up in moments of physical connection you wouldn't expect. The story has this surprising sexual encounter right in the middle of a trashed road.
Yeah, it stood out.
It's such a stark detail, isn't it? Finding intimacy when everything's falling apart shows that human need for connection, I guess, just endures.
And the anthology keeps exploring that, love and sacrifice. Like in Category 5, there's a father, Remy, desperately trying to save his dying wife, Marta, from a flood and the undead, just trying to get her to the roof.
Oh.
Or the narrator in the raft, clinging to Jeremy even after he's turned, pretending Jeremy's struggles are, quote, joy at being saved. Just refusing to let go of that connection, even when it's horrific.
Wow, that denial is powerful. Okay, now, this is where things get really interesting, I think. The stories show just how different the undead can be. Really challenges our usual ideas about zombies.
Absolutely. The collection gives us everything. You've got the classic slow, shuffling ones, sure, but also these rare, genuinely terrifying runners.
Oof, runners, worst nightmare.
Tell me about it. And the editor notes that zombies aren't going to be dying off anytime soon. It paints this bleak picture, doesn't it? Not just a crisis, but like a new permanent state of things.
Yeah, a new reality. And their behaviors are weirdly familiar sometimes, but twisted. Walkers being drawn indoors, like maybe going back to where they used to live or stay.
Could be. Or the smirkers from that story, no pain. That's particularly unsettling. They don't necessarily go for brains, despite, celluloid lore.
Right. The movie rules.
Yeah, they seem happy with just any flesh. It kind of subverts the whole zombie foundation we think we know.
So does that raise the question of, sentience? Are they suffering?
That's exactly it. There's this one radio host, he's clearly losing it, and he just screams, "Why have they come back from the dead, and what the fuck do they want?" You feel that desperation.
Yeah.
And then he notices their fingers are, quote, "shredded down to the bone from clawing through concrete vaults," suggests this awful struggle even after death.
Oh, that's grim. And then you get the zombie narrator, a first-person account from the other side.
Yeah, chillin' stuff.
He remembers bits of his human past, but now people are just meat. He feels this constant driving hunger. And even complains like, but that's so fucking unfair.
Complaining zombies.
Huh.
And his ending, after the victory, just silence, empty rooms, and that desperate groan, brains. It's like this endless, torturous awareness. So bleak.
That idea definitely echoes in the story with the Todmänner, the dead men, in that Nazi zombie content.
Oh yeah, tell us about that.
Well, sources said they were created from Jews, and they're really vulnerable to cold, like they die below 10 degrees Celsius. But then there are these really disturbing changes in how they act.
Changes? Like what?
Like finding a zombified host wrapped up in a rug, or a small group gathered around a fire barrel. It hints at something. More than mindless hunger. Maybe a terrifying mimicry of human behavior. Or some distorted consciousness, it's hard to say. Wow, that's deeply creepy.
Yeah.
Mimicry. You also mentioned a character in Living with Zombies who actually lives among them.
Yeah, she observes them, notes their strange rituals like keening at the full moon, and her own father bites her, which leads her to this chilling thought. Nothing like a parent who bites you to make you incapable of leaving them.
Oof, heavy.
And then she asks this really profound question. Sometimes I think the only way you can tell if something has a soul is if they can still be sad. It really makes you think about what consciousness even is.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
So if the zombies themselves are so varied, so unpredictable, what did that do to society? How do people organize? What happens to morality when everything's gone sideways?
Well, this deep dive really digs into the brutal pragmatism you see in leadership during an apocalypse. You've got Grandpa Joe in Still Here. His advice is stark. Tell Kendrick to shoot anybody, even friends, even Santa Claus apparently, to save himself.
Shoot Santa Claus. Wow.
Yeah. And then there's Vance in the camp, making those impossible calls, like taking everyone's guns. He ends up facing this collapsing barricade, and his dying thought is, he was good people, but these are evil times. Just highlights the tragic cost, you know?
Yeah, the weight of those choices.
Yeah.
But then you get a totally different approach, right? The Amish community and Elder Miller's story.
Exactly. Despite their pacifism, Miller says it's not our way to fight. They actually survive. Not through fighting, but through community, sticking together, sticking to our way.
So survival isn't always about becoming ruthless.
Right. It shows adaptation doesn't have to mean abandoning your core values, which is a stark contrast to the threat they face from scavengers, these awful men who just kill and rape.
Which brings us back to those impossible moral choices. The rape worm you mentioned.
Yeah, that one presents this ultimate moral nightmare. The protagonist has to make this agonizing decision to shoot his friends, Mike and then Josh, basically to spare them a far worse fate.
A mercy killing, but...
Horrific. And what's profound there is this belief that, quote, even with the alien taking over, some part of us remains in them. Some essential piece of our DNA remains unchanged. It really forces you to confront that blurry line between human and monster and ask, when is mercy actually a form of cruelty?
That's a heavy question. This collection even makes you wonder if fighting the undead is always the answer. There's an author who writes about the infected, their word for zombies, being still cognizant.
Yeah, able to be reasoned with.
Reasoned with, unlike the others, which means the living humans hunting them.
Exactly. It completely flips the script, doesn't it? Makes you question who the real monsters are. Challenges all those assumptions about villainy.
It really does. Zooming out a bit, there's this idea of a new kind of disturbing social order emerging, like in Farming the Dead.
Oh yeah, the dystopian one.
Yeah.
Where the commander uses dead men with skull faces as farm labor to, quote, feed the living. And then Park discovers a hidden nursery of living children. His whole journey to infiltrate and rescue them involves this complex transformation, blurring the lines between human and monster himself. Shows the horrifying ways people adapt, maybe even losing their own humanity to survive.
The cost of survival. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. If you're ready for some really strange, almost bizarre encounters, some stories really push the boundaries, right? Show the sheer absurdity of it all.
Oh, definitely. Let's start with the African zombocalypse.
Yeah.
It's this allegorical story using the outbreak as a metaphor for the AIDS crisis in Africa.
Yeah.
And it has this incredibly vivid, almost darkly funny detail. A taxi hits a zombie gendarme, and his guts get snarled on the roof of the car and now dangled through the driver's side window like a sausage brand of fuzzy dice.
Wow, that's descriptive.
Isn't it?
That-
And later, the narrator burns the gendarme's remains, hoping someone does the same for him if he turns. A strange moment of shared humanity, almost, amidst the grotesque.
And for grim laughs, you mentioned the zombie gigolo.
Oh, yes, that one. Well, it explores the occupational hazards of probably the most unconventional job in the apocalypse.
I can only imagine.
Imagine dealing with the constant smell of hydrogen sulfide, oozing intestinal juices, and this unforgettable term, slage.
Slage.
Yeah, where the zombie client's skin peels off like a used condom.
Oh my God. That's both grotesque and weirdly funny. Horrifying, mostly.
It's a very fine line. Then there's the psychological side, like in The Survivor. Fred's trapped, watching himself just deteriorate in the mirror.
Yeah, that sounds isolating.
Totally. But amidst all that horror, he finds comfort in this really mundane book, Meals Ready to Eat. Even while his, toilet paper earplugs aren't blocking out the moans of the dead outside.
Brutal comforts,
It-
clinging to anything familiar.
Exactly. It shows how we cope, or try to.
Okay, this next one sounds profoundly unsettling. The Wrong Dead Girl.
Oh, it is. Miles Sperry tries to dig up his dead girlfriend because he lost some poetry he buried with her.
Okay, weird start.
But he digs up the wrong coffin and finds a different zombie. A talking zombie.
Talking.
Yeah, with writhing hair, who says she's playing a good joke on him. The story just spirals into the narrator's madness. He ends up thinking about using a hammer on this Arlene personality he thinks the zombie has. It's this terrifying look at how trauma just fractures the mind. Maybe makes the living more monstrous than the dead in a way.
Wow. That sounds intense. And there was something about Boltzmann brains.
Yeah.
How does that fit in?
Right. That's a fascinating theoretical angle one source brings up. It connects this philosophical idea Boltzmann brains are these hypothetical self-aware minds randomly popping out of chaos to global paranoia in the Anthology.
Okay.
It suggests that instead of uniting against the zombies, nations just tore themselves apart due to this deep-seated paranoia and mistrust. It raises this really important question. Maybe the biggest threat isn't the zombies, but it's actually us, our inability to cooperate.
That humanity's own divisions are the real enemy. That hits hard.
And then there's the darkly funny Fire Island. The narrator's a former bike courier who gets a kick out of breaking no bikes allowed rules, even now.
Finds joy in the small rebellions.
Sort of. And he has this dream about a threesome with his dead wife and an undead girl, which sounds blissful until they start eating him in the dream.
Right. Nightmare fuel.
Pretty much. And then his waking anger isn't even at the dead. It shifts to this random, skanky, tick-encrusted deer. It just shows the absurdity, right? The totally misplaced rage in a world that's fundamentally broken.
Yeah, the logic is just gone. What about the San Francisco New Utopia? Zombies as workers.
Yeah. Remote-controlled zombies use as laborers, even soldiers. And the protagonist is Eagle, a pizza delivery guy.
Delivering pizza to zombies.
Apparently.
Mm.
And he eventually has this encounter with a zombie he used to know. It leads to this moment of reflection and this really poignant admission. Nobody here wanted to fight you. They just wanted something to eat.
Wow. Just basic survival, even for the undead. Gut-wrenching.
It is.
It's just incredible, the sheer range here. How many different parts of the human condition these stories touch on? We've gone from, really personal stuff, love, betrayal, to big geopolitical paranoia.
And they all do it, whether it's through these really moving emotional journeys or gritty survival tales or even that dark, absurd humor. They all manage to distill these compelling bits of insight about our fears, our resilience, and just how fragile civilization really is.
Yeah, it hammers home that idea, doesn't it? That the horror often isn't just the zombies. It's the choices people make, the way society just unravels. It echoes that line that humanity is doomed by our inability to just get along with each other.
Exactly. So maybe if that gravedigger in one story is right when he says the secret really is all in the salt, just this simple overlooked thing, what other simple truths might be out there? Keys to understanding or maybe even surviving the unimaginable. Something for you to chew on maybe long after the last zombie has shuffled past.